What's going on, guys? We're back here today with the next part of our CPC Season 5 playoff run. Um, we were able to best sticks from the token minorities last time in the quarterfinals, and now we're moved on to the semifinals. And as you can see on the screen, we're taking on Jake, and here's Virginia Tech Froakies. Jake is one of my better friends in the league. He's a phenomenal player. He beat us in the regular season, and yeah, I do think that he really earned it. He has shown over the last 2 seasons of the CPC that he's amazing. He went undefeated in the regular season last season, and I think he's 8-3 or 8-2 this season. So yeah, he's really good, and he has a pretty threatening team to boot. So it's going to be definitely a tough matchup here. But yeah, let me hop into this matchup then. He has the Mega Gardevoir, the Manaphy, the Infernape, the Metagross, Haxorus, Amoonguss, Golbat, Sneasel, Kangaskhan, Rhyperior, with Manaphy and Sneasel being his Z-Mons. Some things to note before that. Well, his team is definitely not the fastest. He has his highest speed mons are Infernape at 108 and Sneasel at 115. He does have a bit center around the base 100, base 90, with Mega Gardevoir, Manaphy, and Kangaskhan all being base 100, and Golbat and Haxorus residing somewhere in the base 90 speed tier. That being said, he also has some slow stuff in form of Rhyperior and Amoonguss, and also Metagross is the fastest. However, one thing you notice is that my only water resist is Suicune, and he has a Manaphy. So that does immediately put me at quite the disadvantage here. And I'm going to explain later, or I'm going to explain soon, how I tend to deal with that. Mega Gardevoir is also such a big threat to my team. It can just Will-O-Wisp my likely switch in the Mega Scizor. And Mega Scizor, yeah, it's just again set up for Manaphy, so it's all a vicious circle here. If I try to build a more defensive team, that is. Basically, what I'm trying to say with all this rumbling is that Mega Gardevoir, Manaphy, and SD Infernape, potentially SD Haxorus, with me not having a fairy, although Mega Scizor is a decent check to SD Haxorus, so I'm not sure about that. And it's really, really tough for me to build a defensive a team with enough defense to really really beat his offense. That's just nigh on impossible for me. So in contrast to the match against Six in the quarterfinals, where I did have the matchup to the extent where I can just focus on defense to really beat him, I can't do that this match. I need to bring a more offensive, if not really hyper offensive build, if I want to have a chance of not losing to Manaphy. It's just chance of winning is implied in that, but it's more to have a chance to not lose to Manaphy on team matchups. So yeah, that's kind of the thought process why I'm going to build this team I built, or why I'm going to have built this team while that I'm explaining now. So yeah, there's that. Starting off, we have my Scolipede. SD Scolipede is just a phenomenal win condition against his team, as after a speed boost he does not have a way of revenging me barring Sneasel's Ice Shard, and that's not going to do too much to my Scolipede, given that Scolipede has a decent defense and can resist. Ice Shard is not super effective, so I'm in a pretty good position there. I have the SD, the Mega Horn, Earthquake, and Rock Slide. Pretty self-explanatory. Mega Horn is just a phenomenal stab against his team. It hits everything barring the Infernape, the Golbat, and I think that it hits everything barring the Infernape, the Golbat. So Mega Horn is just really, really strong here, and I can also hit the Metagross with it if I expect it's Sugar Berry or whatever. The one problem this Scolipede has in the matchup is that it's walled by Golbat. I need my Z-move on another Pokemon. As you can see, I have my Z-move on Galite. I'm going to explain that later too. And even a +2 Z Rock Slide does not guarantee to knock out Golbat. So I needed to think of a way I can beat the Golbat with this Scolipede. And in the case he has Brave Bird, I decided to go with Cold Berry because if he switches in on rocks, I get the first SD. Then he Brave Birds me, I get a second SD, and then I have a good chance of knocking out the Golbat with my +4 Rock Slide. And also really, really good chance of sweeping through the team. So yeah, that's the idea behind this Scolipede. Next up, we have Scarf Mienshao. I really did not want to bring Scarf Mienshao this game, just because Expert Belt or Life Orb Mienshao just has such a fantastic matchup. But because Poison Jab for Gardevoir, High Jump Kick the Manaphy, High Jump Kick the Infernape if it comes down to you probably need to switch out on Infernape though. So that's one reason I want to bring Scarf. Metagross I can just knock off or High Jump Kick or U-turn on Probably knockoff does a lot. Haxorus I can kill. I can acrobatics, even the Amoongus if I decide to run no item. So yeah, really, or Expert Belt Stone Edge, good for the Golbat and all that. So I really wanted to bring a different Mienshao set. However, I absolutely could not, because if I did not bring Scarf Mienshao and he was the Z-Rain Dance Manaphy that got to +1 speed, I lose the game, like, immediately, because he gets a tail glow up on a lot of other mons on my team, and just even without a tail glow, the +1 speed Manaphy in the rain with probably Modest, and me actually not bringing a water resist, not bringing a water resist versus Manaphy this time, because they're playing hyper offense here. And bringing Suicune on hyper offense is, in my opinion, just asking to lose, because it will just drain me of any offensive momentum and any pressure I have to put on this team. So yeah, Suicune wasn't really an option here. So yeah, I still need to. This is my dedicated revenge killer. I needed to Scarf Mienshao this week. So yeah. Next up, it's my Manaphy measure. It's a bulky Adamant Gallade, SD Gallade. Not that Gallade is water resist, as I point out, but Gallade does, with its natural good speed def, it does take on Manaphy really well. I can actually live any +3 hit as long as it's not a Z move or in rain, or I can live any unboosted Z move. So yeah, that's, if he brings in Manaphy on me, I always go hard Gallade, because then I do have the chance to knock him out with the Z Leaf Blade afterwards. Or even if I predict the switch out, I can just SD up and become an immediate threat to his team, because whatever he brings in will most likely not be able to kill me. And at +2, I do a really solid amount to the Mega Gardevoir, to the Infernape. If there's any sort of chip damage, I get onto them early in the game, which I plan to do with hazards and just general team pressure. Again, it's hyper offense. That's the kind of the idea, to overwhelm his team here. SD Gallade isn't only a good Manaphy answer, it's also really good win con in the late game. Yeah, but Z Leaf Blade always equals Manaphy, so it's really good coverage. Zen Headbutt does pretty much hits everything else for good coverage that Leaf Blade doesn't. And Shadow Sneak just rounds out my coverage for the Metagross and the Mega Gardevoir, which I can do really good damage to. So yeah. Okay, next up, Hyper Offense. Hyper Offense 1-on-1, you need a hazard lead, and Titar is my hazard lead. It's not outcode by anything he can do, barring a close combat or a hammer arm. Either close combat from the Infernape or the hammer arm from the Metagross. I can tank pretty much any other hit, barring, I think, an offensive superpower from Kangaskhan. I also have a good chance of living Mega Gardevoir's Focus Blast, if he even runs it. I'm not sure he will. I actually don't think he will. I'm expecting more like Sub, HP Fire, Will-O-Wisp, Hyper Voice, or something like that. But yeah, and I guaranteed get Rocks up turn 1, and I'm also a pretty big offensive threat to his team, because I can just Stone Edge, and he doesn't have good Rock Resist. His Rock Resists are Rhyperior and Metagross, which I can just, Metagross's case, hit with my secondary step in Crunch, or in Rhyperior's case can Aqua Tail. Obviously you're thinking, why wouldn't you just run Surf? And that's because Rhyperior in general has a better defense than Spadef. But that's just because I am Sandstream to take on the Gardevoir and mine affiliate better. And I automatically give the Rhyperior the Spadef boost. So yeah, Aqua Tail is my best way to hit that, especially with my investment being more into the physical offensive side. So yeah, next up we have my main and my primary win conditions, if you want to say it so. We have my Safety Goggles, Nasty Plot, Psychic Mew, and Nasty Plot 3 attacks Mew. Max speed, max special attack. There's nothing really fancy about this set, barring the Safety Goggles maybe. And it's because of Amoongus. Amoongus is his main, Amoongus and Golbat are his main checks to like Scolipede, Mienshao, and Mega Scizor. If I can weaken those, if I can bring in Mew on those, I can on a double or something, or maybe even a U-turn. Do I have U-turn? Yeah, on the U-turn from Mienshao, I can click Nasty Plot and really keep pressuring his team. I needed Mew, I needed an offensive Mew this game, because one, it has a phenomenal matchup. Psychic hits the Manaphy, the Infernape, the Haxorus, Amoongus, Golbat, and Kangaskhan and Rhyperior, while Shadow Ball hits the his Psychic Resist and Mega Gardevoir and Metagross, and Vacuum Wave picks off the Sneasel easily. So yeah, well, I really wanted this Mew because it capitalized nicely on the Pokemon that the rest of my team really struggled with. So I'm really expecting this Mew to be clutch. If I can win some speed ties, potentially if he brings Max Speed Manaphy and Max Speed Mega Gardevoir, this thing becomes incredibly tough for him to handle. Yeah, Vacuum Wave, again, priority is also nice if he's the setup Infernape. Really my only play versus setup Infernape without a defensive Suicune or a defensive Mew is to wear it down with hazards, with pressure, up to the point where one of my three priority users is able to revenge it. So I do know that's a massive threat, but that's kind of the way I have to go with this build again, due to the matchup. Yeah, and last but not least, we have SD Scissor with Bullet Punch and Bug Bite. It's weird because it's not that good in this matchup, I feel, because SD Scissor is checked by Inferno and Manaphy mostly. However, what this Scissor does, and what it does really importantly for me, is I can weaken the Golbat with SD and Bullet Punch, and because if I show Bug Bite, one, I hit the Manaphy a lot harder because I expect that to be a Z-move user, and two, the Bug Bite also means that his Golbat might think it's safe to stay in on me. I'm really, really sorry for that. It was just spam email. And his wow, now that threw me off here. Yeah, his Golbat might think that it might be able to stay in on me and won me with with the help of Heat Wave to maybe taunt or haze and all that, but because I don't have knockoff and can't get rid of its Eviolite, but once I get off a +2 Bullet Punch, my Scolipede above there just gets so much better. So yeah. Yeah, again, that's my team for this week against Jake. I'm really in need to, or I really need to get a lot of predictions this game. Keep up the pressure and try to win that way, because if I don't get, or don't keep offensive momentum in my favor, I will lose this game. That's pretty much all I can say about that. So yeah, that's it for my team builder, and we're going to be back shortly with the battle. Alright, and we're back with the battle against Jake in the semifinals of the CPC. And yeah, he brought pretty much the team I expected. He brought the Manaphy and the Mega Gardevoir. Both are phenomenal threats to me. Inferno, with the offensive approach I use, is another really big threat to my team. The next one is Golbat is his necessary Scolipede check, and Amoonguss, which is probably his main Mienshao check, as well as a Rapira, which I fully expect to be his T-Tar counter. So it's going to be a lot of fun this game. Again, I need to play hyper offensively, keep that in mind. So yeah, I have my dedicated lead, it's my T-Tar, and I'm going to lead off with this T-Tar right here. And why is the music on? God damn it. Can't go recording without fault. But yeah, now the music should be off. I lead off with my T-Tar, and he leads off with his Rhyperior. This is another check to my Scolipede, so I really want this weekend. Is why I click Aqua Tail turn 1, especially because he's most likely going to go for rocks with how big a threat Scolipede is to his team. So I'm just going to click Aqua Tail, get the 2-hit KO. Now I'm going to safely set up my Stealth Dogs here, and his switch out to Amoonguss. Now here, I could have gone out into my Mew, however I decide that if he wants to drop a Toxic instead of the Spore, it's not really worth risking my main win condition this early in the match. Plus T-Tar has gotten up rocks and it's a main job. It also still switches in on Golbat, takes the hits it needs to, can still chip the Infernape, so I don't think T-Tar is that important right here. But he just goes for the Spore, so I really wish I had made the play out into Mew, but I think that overall, with the potential of Toxic here, it was my better play to stay in. So now I go into my Scizor, as he makes the double into Manaphy. Really good play, because now I'm immediately pressured out with my Scizor again. I don't know if he predicted me to go Scizor. Maybe he predicted, yeah, or he just couldn't touch my T-Tar, which is another thing that could be his potential. So I could have just burned off a turn of sleep there, but anyway, I go into my Scizor, and now I have the threat is here, and I have my dedicated measure. It's the Gallade, as he goes for the Hydro Vortex immediately and does not do enough. This means if he doesn't have Shadow Ball, he can't kill me, and it reveals me to be a bit bulkier. So I'm not sure if he'll expect the Z Leaf Blade. I thought he might stay in because he knows that regular Leaf Blade won't kill him, and Scolipede is such a likely Z move user in this game. But he makes the but he pulls out the switch into his Rhyperior, predicting me nicely there. Well played on Jake's part. If I went for SD there, I would have been in a pretty fantastic position, because I could have killed the Rhyperior and now gotten off about 60 or 50% off of this Infernape right here. But yeah, fortunately that's not the case. So I'm forced out here. I click Send Headband here to not give this Infernape a free SD. If I clicked Shadow Sneak and he Sword Stamped up on me, I was in a really bad position. So I just click Send Headband here. He's now down to 73. I need him a bit lower, but I know he can't OHKO my Mew, so I'm just going to go out into this Mew and fire off a safe Psychic again, can't really mess around with a threat as an Infernape, and as seeing as Gardevoir is his only Psychic Resist, and I need to chip that down anyway, so I can beat it with my +2 Mew. And I still have my T-Tar as a sack and my Scizor as a potential switch in. I'm still in a good position by just firing off a Psychic here with my Mew. As I do just that, and this reveals that he's most likely, this plus the Hyper Voice damage now means that he's most likely really bulky Gardevoir. Which is on the one hand bad for me, because that means Mew doesn't do that much damage to it, but on the other hand it also means that Mew most likely outspeeds it, so I do like that option here very, very much. So yeah, now I'm with my Scizor, and again, this is a threat. I'm just going to Bullet Punch it. There's not really a reason for me to do anything else than Bullet Punch here. Oh, I Bug Bite. I Bug by predicting the Manaphy. Actually, it was a good play. Yeah, as I said, Hyper Offense requires I need to make plays to not lose the game. So I click Bug by predicting the Manaphy, because I can't really let that get a free switch in anymore. And I didn't think he would risk his only Psychic Resist when I have a really, really healthy Mew still in the back. So that hasn't revealed anything about its set. Might very well be Scarfed. So yeah, there's that. He clicks Roost with his Golbat, and this is a situation I wanted, because now I can +2 Bullet Punch it and pressure this Golbat on the knockout. Now my Scizor might be down, so my 2 primary checks to Manaphy and Mega Guard are down. However, I have done what I wanted to. I've weakened the Gardevoir, I've weakened the Manaphy a bit, I've weakened the Infernape. I now am in a position where I have a weakened Golbat and I can put pressure on by forcing it out with the Mew. Amoonguss isn't really that big an issue right now, because I can weaken that with my Mew still. So yeah, I'm in a really, despite me being down a Pokemon and having lost my 2 primary defensive measures, quote-unquote defensive here, I still think I'm in a good position here. Now, with this Mew, I really, really think he needs to preserve this Golbat, because if he does not preserve this Golbat, Scolipede is still at a super good amount of health, and with T-Tar being sack fodder, I get a guaranteed Sword Stance up on the Mega Gardevoir pretty much. I even get a Sword Stance up on the Manaphy. So I really, really think he needs to save this here, which is why I'm decided to click Nasty Plot here, because with the Gardevoir spread he revealed earlier, I do have a chance after rocks that my next +2 Shadow Ball will knock out the Gardevoir, and I'm going to go for that. So I'm going to click Nasty Plot here, as he makes the really, really good play. So props to Jake again, clicking U-turn. I did not expect that. He caught me on the prediction right here. I did not think he would do that, because my opinion, not roosting with Golbat here at least, or at least not hard switching it out, was really dangerous in case of my Scolipede, because of my Scolipede late game. But yeah, he gets the read, so I can't really complain. And this, unfortunately, this Infernape is still out of range of a +2 Vacuum Wave, and I do not tank a Flare Blitz from here. So what I am going to do is I'm going to switch out to my Tyranitar to get one of the Sand Chip damage, and as well as the Sand Chip damage, as well as the potential Flare Blitz recoil, because I really did expect him to go for Flare Blitz there. However, he Encored, which in my opinion was a misplay, because if I Vacuum Wave there, I would have been able to 2-hit KO this Infernape and pretty much straight swept there, and I think he should have expected Vacuum Wave in the Sneasel matchup. I think that's just very likely. But yeah, that was on him. But yeah, anyway, now he's obviously, and doesn't really change much. Apart from that, I get an extra sand turn of sand damage on instead of the Flare Blitz recoil. But yeah, now he can just obviously knock me out with the close combat. But at -1, and him revealed to be not Choice Scarf, I can just go into my Scolipede because I outspeed him, and I know I know he's not going to switch out here, because he can't risk me getting up in a Sword Stance, because then I do beat the Manaphy and I do beat the Amoonguss, which are his only remaining answers. But now he can get off the Spore again, and as I said, I'm Safety Goggles Mew, and because he didn't predict the Mew last time, I don't think he will now, because I don't think he'll expect the Safety Goggles anymore. And this time this works out fine for me as I go into my Mew, and I'm now in a position where I can just Nasty Plot up as he shows the Clear Smog. So again, good prep on his part, but it only comes down to a series of 50-50s here right now. If I get him on my next 2 predictions, if I Psychic here, I potentially 2-KO the Manaphy. I don't. However, I live any hit with my Scarf Mienshao, and now I can need to High Jump Kick though to kill this Manaphy. And now he's back in with the Amoonguss. If he went Golbat here, he could have potentially recovered up, but that also meant that I got back into my Mew, and I at this point hadn't shown a Vacuum Wave, so I might have very well had Roost, and I could have just, if he went Golbat, I could have just sacked my Mian Shao, and still swept with Mew plus Scolipede in the end. So while this was a chance for him to recover up with his Skull Belt, I don't think that it would have ultimately changed much at the outcome of the game, and I'm going to show you why in a bit. But yeah, now I can just high jump kick again, get a solid 22 amount of damage off on this Amoonguss as he clears Smogs to kill me. Now I go into Mew, and this is game deciding. If I Psychic here, or if I have two plays, right? I can Nasty Plot up, or I can Psychic. If I Nasty Plot him on him switching out, I guaranteed win, because I guaranteed knock out the Mega Gardevoir and sweep through the team, because he does not outspeed me. I'm quite certain of that up to now. If, however, he clicks Clear Smog on my Nasty Plot, I lose my Mew, and I lose the game, because then he just spores my Scolipede and can beat me down. So, yeah, it's a bit of a 50-50 right here. I decide to click Psychic here, because after Rocks plus Psychic damage, while it's not likely, if Psychic gets the Spadef drop, or if I get a really, really high roll, my Shadow Ball, even without the +2, does have a chance to knock out this Mega Gardevoir right here. So I think that just clicking raw Psychic was my better play than just Nasty Plotting. And I do that, and I get him on the prediction, and I killed off the Amoonguss. And now I'm at a good position, because with Rocks up, I click Shadow Ball here, weaken the Gardevoir to where it is in range of Scolipede's Earthquake, so I don't even need to risk Mega Horn. I kill this with Earthquake, and now this whole game comes down to me hitting a Rock Slide. Please, Scolipede, hit this Rock Slide. Hit this. Yes, and we hit the Rock Slide. That's a good game to Jake. Really phenomenal game. It came down to very, very clutch predictions in the end. And I'm really happy with how this game turns out. It wasn't a hacksy game. It came down to a 50-50, but I think that's just the game we play sometimes, and and there wasn't much hacks involved in this game. We both prepped really well. He made some phenomenal plays this game, but I think I ultimately executed my game plan that well that yeah, I won this game in the end. So yeah, good game to Jake. He's a really, really good, cool guy, nice guy, a good friend. It was really fun to face him in the semifinals. But yeah, now we're in the finals, and we're taking on Gypsy King, the Gypsy King in the finals, and really, really happy for that. I'm excited for this matchup. I'm going to give it my all, and I hope you guys will enjoy that too once it's uploaded. So yeah, GG to Jake. Cheers. My name is Johnny. I'm out.